Greetings viewers. As you can probably tell by the title of this video, there is not really going to be anything pleasant about this. The topic is the real Srebrenica Genocide, the mass murder of Serbs in Srebrenica and Grace from 1992 to 1995 by Elijah Izetbegovic's Islamo-fascist terrorists. Now, I'm sure many of you have probably heard of the so-called Srebrenica Massacre, which supposedly occurred on July the 11th, 1995, where Bosnian Serb forces took the town of Srebrenica from Bosnian Muslim forces and supposedly carried out a massacre of 8,000 Muslim men. Now, it's complete nonsense, but what this is largely about is from what happened between 1992 and 1995. As you'll be able to see in the description column, I provide plenty of links with lots of evidence for all of what I'm about to say. This is from the Isra Pundit forum. It was originally posted on another website. I provide the link to that as well, the forinternational.wordpress.com. It says here, the real Srebrenica genocide not reported by the corrupt, racist, pro-Islamist, Nazi, Western corporate-controlled media was the brutal mass murder using axes, knives, daggers, sledgehammers, iron bars, flamethrowers and explosives of 3,870 Serbian elderly men, women and young children in and around the town of Srebrenica and its adjoining towns and villages, as well as the town of Garace. Now, those are the words of one Peter Robert North, but I completely concur with him. He is not, he's not exaggerating. And there are plenty of pictures. Now, I'm not going to put them in the video. They are horrific, and if you're somewhat squeamish, you might want to consider not going to the link. However, having said that, I hope you do, because there's nothing quite like being confronted by, the results of evil to realise that we just can't tolerate this sort of thing. There are plenty of pictures, made even more horrific by the fact that there are actually names associated with them. Some of the people, whose mutilated, burned, chopped up bodies can be seen here. They do actually know their names. Some of them anyway. Bosnian Muslim military forces from Srebrenica killed Bosnian Serb Milan Vujičić, mutilated his body and then roasted his corpse. The body of Bosnian Serb civilian Kostadinka Grisic, executed by Bosnian Muslim forces by stabbing her in the chest. At least they didn't burn her. The body of Malika Saric, who was murdered by Bosnian Muslim forces in Kalinovic with 30 other Bosnian Serb civilians. On the right, the body of 15-year-old Bosnian Serb Slobodan Mestilo, who was murdered by Bosnian Muslim forces in the Foča region. And there is picture after picture after picture, and this of course is only a fraction of the over 3,800 people. 2 children. These little Serbs, Predrag and Danka Sekulovic, were slain with their parents on September the 13th, 1992, by Bosnian Muslims in the village of Bačić on the road to Foča. He was 7, she was 4. Plenty of pictures of funerals. Plenty more pictures of mutilated bodies. People who've had their hearts cut out. People beheaded, incinerated, and having their bodies dumped in rivers. 2 elderly women murdered. The body of a Bosnian Serb boy murdered by Nasser Oric's forces in the Srebrenica pocket in eastern Bosnia. And I will take their word that it's a Bosnian Serb boy. You really can't tell. It's just like a skeleton with like minced meat on it. Another incinerated skeleton. The decapitated head of Bosnian Serb farmer Pero Makic, who was executed by Bosnian, Muslim and Croat forces in the northeastern Bosnian city of Brečko in June 22nd, 1992. His head was placed on a pitchfork and a cigarette was placed in his mouth. Sick sense of humour. One of the forks of the pitchfork was stabbed in his eye. This is a photo that was censored and suppressed in the West. Picture after picture. I mean, I won't spend too much time reading them all out. A Serb soldier who was captured by the Muslims skewered on a spear and exhibited in front of a hotel. He stayed alive for a few days, said a Serbian journalist. That set off wild rumours throughout Bosnian Serb-held territories. All of this happened, like I said, between 1992 and 1995. That was the reason why Bosnian Serb forces took the town of Srebrenica on July 11th, 1995. And they did not commit a massacre of 8,000 Muslim men, as is the commonly held view. And I think just about every year, around July the 11th, the Western media usually has a sort of the news services have a sort of an anniversary thing about the Srebrenica Massacre, just slandering the Serbs. There's pictures here of the Saudi Afghan Arab Mujahideen with decapitated heads of Bosnian Serb POWs in 1992, and they've put a couple of Serb heads in boxes. In another scene, there's one of them sort of kicking one of them around like a soccer ball. Another one proudly holding up a head for the cameras. Pictures of the Bosnian Islamo-fascist forces, with their in their full Mujahideen jihad outfits. And a picture of former President Bill Clinton. Unveiling of an Arabic inscribed monument dedicated to fallen Al-Qaeda Mujahideen fighters in Srebrenica. Why is Clinton bowing to this monument? Well, I think it's a rhetorical question on the part of the authors. Bill Clinton was very much involved with this atrocity. And there's also information on Nasser Oric, who was in charge of these forces and received like 2 years in prison. And last I heard, I don't know what he's doing these days, but in around 2001 he was running a discotheque in Bosnia. It's how surreal this is, an Islamo-fascist running a discotheque. I recommend going to the Isra Pundit link, because there are also comments by various people afterwards, which include links to far more information. I mean, there's so much information I can't possibly fit it all into this video. I also provide plenty of links to information from the website The Emperor's New Clothes, or 10c.net, which documented all this stuff back in the 90s, while it was happening, right? So they were well ahead of their time. And also the website Historical and Investigative Research, or hirhome.com. They have sections, dedicated to what happened in Yugoslavia. Now, people, the Western media, when they cover up atrocities from 1992 to 1995 and then make up bogus atrocity stories supposedly committed by the Serbs in 1995 and ever since, that's not an accident. It's deliberate. The Islamo-fascist forces in the world are sponsored by the US and EU and other Western and ultimately globalist establishments. It is not an accident, it is deliberate. Wake up. It is not because Western leaders are ignorant about the true face of Islam. It is not because they are dependent on Saudi Arabian oil. I mean, there's a bit of an absurd view out there that, of course, many people will be familiar with the notion that Zionist Jews working on behalf of the State of Israel have infiltrated the US government. There's now, murmurings out there as a sort of a limited hangout that somehow the reason why the so-called war on terror isn't going so well is because of Saudi Arabian and other Arab and Islamic influence, and it's just complete nonsense. I urge you all to look at this stuff. I also provide a link, and it is horrific. It got me so angry I nearly punched out the monitor, to be quite frank, of a 12-year-old Taliban boy beheading a man in Afghanistan. A 12-year-old kid. I mean, that's how disgusting this ideology is. Anyway, check it out. It's real. It happened. It's continuing to happen. And it will keep happening if people keep letting it happen. So get angry, do your research, learn about it, and then get active. catches round.